The wind on Halker 7 didn't howl. It whispered, like something ancient was trying to speak through the dust. Commander Rain Voss stood at the ridge, boots crunching faintly over fractured gravel, staring at the silhouette of the outposts below. The place was supposed to be a ruin, abandoned since the Dominion conflict ended 5 years ago. But the faint blue glow bleeding from the facility's upper deck told a different story. Readings show residual energy output, said Keller, the team's engineer, scanning the structure with his wrist module. Could be solar backups. But that signature's Terran military grade. Voss didn't reply. He was already walking down the slope. The outpost was tucked between jagged cliffs, its camel-black durasteel walls mostly intact despite years of planetary erosion. The emblem on the outer gate, Terran Union 3rd Recon, was half blasted away, as if someone had deliberately tried to erase it. 3 other surveyors followed Voss in silence. None of them had seen war. He had, too much of it. Every creak of metal and shift of sand set his instincts twitching. Something about this place crawled under his skin. They reached the blast doors. Keller tapped at the interface panel. Security grid's still functional, just dormant. Shouldn't be, this outpost was struck off the records before the armistice. Someone didn't get the memo, Voss muttered. The doors hissed open, reluctantly. A stale gust met them, tinged with iron. Inside, darkness receded slowly as internal lights flickered to life. Not emergency lights, regular white hallway glow. This place is still breathing, said Navarro, the team's tech recon. Whoever lived here never really left. Voss nodded once. Weapons out. They moved through the main corridor. Dust covered most surfaces, but the footprints were fresh, just a few hours old. Only one set? Small, deliberate. The central hub still had partial power. One of the monitors crackled with static, then stabilized, showing a broken feed of surveillance footage, internal cameras watching empty rooms, locked crates, and something else, a body slumped against a wall. Navarro froze. Playback timestamps 20 hours ago. Who the hell is this? Get me the logs, Voss ordered. Keller pulled the backup core from the wall and began decrypting. Navarro leaned over the feed, enhancing the image. The corpse was in recon armor, Terran issue, but with no ID patches. A hole dead center through the visor. Clean. No splatter. A sniper shot, Navarro whispered. Through 2 meters of reinforced wall. You'd need heat calibration, wind correction, subpixel targeting. Who can even? Ghost Veil, Voss said. The words left his mouth like a sentence. Navarro frowned. I thought they were a myth. They were real. I served with them. Not many left. None were supposed to survive Halcyon drop. Before anyone could respond, a sharp crack echoed through the corridor. Not from inside. Outside. Then silence. Where's Baker? Keller asked. They turned. The 4th team member, who had been guarding the entry, gone. Voss sprinted back through the corridor. The blast door was half open again. A boot lay at the threshold, toppled over. Blood pooled beneath it, still fresh. Eyes up! Voss barked, crouching behind a pillar. No movement outside. No sign of a fight. No sound. Navarro's hand trembled as he raised his scanner. Thermal sweeps, negative. No life signs beyond us. No, Voss growled. Not no life signs. Hidden life signs. She's masking herself. She? He looked at them. There's only one Ghost Veil unaccounted for. Operative Ilana Viral. Last seen on Halcyon drop. Assumed Kia. This outpost belonged to her unit. But why kill us? Because we're here, Voss answered. Because someone erased her. And now she's erasing them back. One bullet at a time. The screen inside the hub blinked. A new line of text appeared. Arwine Voss. I remember you. His blood ran cold. Navarro stared at the message. She knows you? We crossed paths. Once. He turned back to the door. Set a perimeter. Nobody leaves alone. And find me the command terminal. I need to know what happened here. Keller's voice was tight. We're not alone, are we? No, Voss said, drawing his sidearm. We're being watched. And she never misses. The outpost's command room was half collapsed, its ceiling blackened from an old explosion. The air stank of ozone and rot. Voss moved through it with a soldier's precision, eyes scanning every corner. Navarro crouched by a console, patching in power from a fusion pack. You said this unit was decommissioned, she muttered. But this interface, it's live. Last access was just hours ago. Voss watched her fingers work. She was young, smart, fast. But too green. If Ilana was still out there, Navarro wouldn't see the next bullet. None of them would. A soft chime from the console snapped his thoughts. Access granted, Navarro said. We're in. The screen blinked to life, lines of Terran encryption scrolling fast, then slowing. A name appeared on the top line. Project EchoStorm, authorized, Command R, Voss. Navarro turned slowly. This was your project? Voss's jaw tightened. No. I was only part of the operation that shut it down. Or thought I was. She gestured at the screen. Then why does it have your name? He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped forward, eyes scanning the mission logs, debriefs, and encrypted transmissions. Each one was a scar from 5 years ago, reopened with a click. Mission Archive, Halcyon Drop. Objective, terminate Ghost Veil operatives. Collateral acceptable. Orders, burn protocol if compromise suspected. Navarro's voice cracked. This was a black op. Higher than black, Voss said quietly. No witnesses. No survivors. The next line stopped him cold. Status, Operative Ilana Viral, MIA. Presumed terminated. He stared at the word presumed. She survived, Navarro whispered. She watched her entire unit die. Voss exhaled slowly, bitterness rising like acid. And now she's finishing what we started. Suddenly, static filled the room's intercom. Then a voice, distorted, layered with old encryption codes. But familiar. You called it justice. I called it betrayal. The difference is you got to sleep afterward. Navarro recoiled. She's listening in. No, Voss said, turning toward the camera above. She's talking to me. The intercom crackled again. 3 names left on the list. Yours glows the brightest. Then silence. Voss drew his sidearm. She's in the perimeter. Keller's voice buzzed over the calm. We just lost Mason. 1 second he was outside the secondary tunnel entrance, next, gone. No shots fired. No echo trail, no thermal ping? Voss asked. Nothing. Like a ghost. She's not a ghost, Voss said grimly. She's a sniper who doesn't miss, and knows how we think. We trained her that way. Navarro looked up from the terminal. What was Project EchoStorm? He hesitated. It was meant to be a last resort. A kill squad. Hyper-trained female snipers taken from the colonies, orphans, war survivors, no one to miss them. They were bred for the war's dirtiest work. Long-distance kills. Infiltration. No conscience, no hesitation. And Ilana? She was the best. Could hit a moving target across a canyon, wind shear or not. But she wasn't cold. She started asking questions. And questions in that program were a death sentence. Navarro's voice was small. So you killed them? No, he said, jaw tight. But I gave the coordinates. I didn't know what the order meant until it was too late. They were already airborne. Navarro stood. And now she's hunting everyone involved. No. Just the ones who pulled the trigger or signed off. And you? I didn't sign. I didn't shoot. But I didn't stop it either. Navarro stepped closer. What are we really doing here, Commander? Voss stared at the flickering logs. We were supposed to evaluate this site for colonization. But now I think someone wanted me here. Wanted this confrontation. A shrill ping interrupted them. The screen shifted. Live surveillance feed. One camera showed the outer ridge. A figure moved along it, shadow blending into rock posture, low, fluid. Scoped rifle across her back. Ilana Viral. She stopped at the edge of the ridge and looked directly at the camera. The image glitched. When it returned, she was gone. Navarro stepped back, pale. She saw us. She let us see her. She's letting me know it's personal, Voss said. Which means we still have time. For what? To change the ending? He turned to Keller over comms. Reroute all systems to the command node. Lock down the lower deck. We'll hole up here and force her to come to us. You think she'll play your game? Navarro asked. No, he said. But I know where she'll go next. She frowned. Where? The observation deck. It has a clear line of sight on this room, and it's where we stored the final mission briefings. She wants me to remember everything. He turned to Navarro. You're with me. Arm up. And if she gives you a shot, don't take it. She'll want you to try. Together, they exited the command room. Above, the lights flickered as Halker's morning sun started to rise. Somewhere in the cliffs, a woman with a rifle watched them walk into the open, waiting. The stairwell creaked beneath their boots. Voss moved first, Navarro behind, her rifle raised and breath shallow. The climb to the observation deck felt like a countdown ticking in their bones. High ground, Ilana's domain. He knew it. She knew he knew it. And still, she waited. As they reached the last landing, Navarro halted. You're sure she'll be there? No, Voss said. But she'll have left something. They entered a half-shattered room lined with reinforced glass, now cracked from thermal warping. The view stretched wide across the canyon. Voss stepped forward, careful, scanning for the glint of optics, the shadow of a barrel. Nothing. Then he saw it. In the center of the floor, propped against a torn-out console, was a rifle. Long-barreled. Matte black. Familiar. Ilana's ghost veil signature. Navarro knelt near it. Why leave this? Because she's watching. And she wants us to pick it up. A red LED blinked beside the scope. Voss crouched and pressed it. A flickering hologram snapped to life, grainy, incomplete. It was her. Ilana Viral, seated in some dark corner, blood on her sleeve, eyes hollow but focused. If you're watching this, Commander, then you already know they lied. They called it a security breach. Said we went rogue? That we disobeyed orders. That's why the drop was scrubbed, why the airstrike came down on our heads. But that's not what happened. She shifted, wincing. We were told to eliminate a Vrexer diplomat, unarmed, unguarded. He was offering surrender. Our orders were to make it look like an accident. We refused. That's when they branded us liabilities. The image fizzled. You gave the coordinates. I don't hate you for it. Not anymore. But I won't let you die not knowing what you did. The hologram cut off. Navarro looked up. She refused an unlawful kill order? Voss nodded. And paid for it. So did the others, Navarro said quietly. But she lived. He stood slowly. No. She survived. Living is something else. A sharp ping echoed from the wall console. Navarro spun toward it, gun raised. A message blinked across the screen. One left. Keller. Voss grabbed his comm. Keller, get out of the lower deck now. She's targeting you. Static. He switched channels. Keller! Respond! Nothing. He turned to Navarro. Stay here. I'm not letting you go alone. You're not. You're bait. She blinked. What? She's watching this room. She'll think I left you. I want her eyes on you while I flank her. If I'm wrong, she takes a shot. If I'm right, you catch her watching. He nodded once, then disappeared down the stairs. Navarro stood in silence, heart pounding, every muscle tight. She scanned the ridgelines through the glass, through the scope on the abandoned rifle, through her own rifle's lens. Nothing. Then she saw it. A flash. A shimmer of movement. Her finger hovered near the trigger. Breath held. The shimmer didn't move like a shadow. It waited. She realized it wasn't a trick of light. It was a figure in adaptive camouflage, perfectly still. Ilana. And she was aiming down, not at Navarro, but at the lower deck. Commander, Navarro whispered into her mic. She's not after me. She's already locked on Keller. Voss's voice came back. Then I'm out of time. He burst into the lower hall, sprinting toward the old barracks. The door was open, light flickering inside. Keller! He shouted, but the man was already slumped in the corner. Still breathing, barely. Blood seeped from his side, clean and narrow. A grazing shot. A warning. Voss crouched beside him. Why didn't you answer the comm? Keller winced. Jammed, couldn't move fast enough. She let you live. Keller gritted his teeth. Why? Voss looked up at the camera above the doorway. A green LED blinked. She's toying with me now, he said. Making me watch. Then, a voice, not over comms, but in the hallway. Real. Low. Controlled. You don't remember the diplomat's name, do you? Voss turned, hand on his weapon. Ilana stood at the end of the corridor, rifle lowered, hood down. Her face was lean, older than he remembered. A scar ran along her temple. Her eyes, though, still that steel gray. I didn't give that order, he said. No, she replied. You just passed it along. Made it real. I didn't know what it was. You didn't ask. They stood in silence. Ilana raised a small data chip. Here's everything, orders, signatures, recordings. The full betrayal. The piece we bought with corpses. You want me to expose it? No, she said. I want you to remember it. So when the tribunal questions the report you file, you'll know what's truth and what's shame. She tossed the chip. He caught it. Why spare US? He asked. I'm done killing ghosts. I just want them seen. She turned and began walking away. You could still disappear. No one would ever find you. She paused. That's the idea. Voss watched her vanish into the dark. Then he looked down at the chip in his hand, and realized he wasn't holding evidence. He was holding judgment. The data chip felt heavier than it should have. Voss locked himself inside the outpost server room, ignoring the steady thrum of wind battering the structure. Navarro and Keller were recovering in the infirmary, alive, because Ilana had chosen restraint. That alone said everything. He slotted the chip into the main console. The screen blinked, decrypted layers peeling back like skin. A flood of documents appeared, all stamped with Union High Command seals, some dated before the official end of the war. And then, Operation Lightfall. He clicked. A video loaded. Fuzzy at first, then clear. A boardroom. High-ranking officials. His former commanding officer, Admiral Ronex Dal. Ghost Veil operatives have refused the directive. They won't proceed with the Vrexer elimination. Another voice off-screen. What if we simply scrub the mission? Then we lose leverage. We need that diplomat dead. His offer undermines the surrender terms we negotiated. The Admiral leaned forward, voice cold. Terminate the operatives. Burn protocol. And keep it clean. Frame the Dominion if we must. The video paused. Voss stared at the frozen face of the man he once trusted. His hands curled into fists. More logs followed, orders filtered through secure comms, his own signature on one, authorizing coordinates for emergency extraction support. Over Halcyon Drop. The airstrike had gone live exactly 3 minutes later. He hadn't just delivered the package. He'd lit the match. Voss leaned back, breath shallow. The final file was an audio log. To Commander Rain Voss. If you're hearing this, you're either dead, or you've started caring again. Either way, I hope it hurts a little. Because pain means you remember. Ilana Viral. The console dimmed. He pulled the chip free, slid it into a secure case, and left the server room. Navarro met him halfway down the hall. Her face said she already knew. You saw it? She nodded. Enough. Admiral Dal ordered a kill on peace envoys, and used the ghost veils to do it. When they wouldn't, he buried them. Keller? Alive. Drugged, stitched up. Ilana wanted him to wake up with the truth. Voss exhaled. She gave us a gift. She didn't have to. Navarro studied him. You're not thinking about keeping it quiet, are you? No, he said. I'm thinking about how to speak it so the galaxy actually listens. They moved through the dim corridors back to the command room. Halker 7's sunrise now bled gold through the cracks. Outside, the silence was deeper, not foreboding, but final. The hunter was gone. She had said her piece, pulled the trigger without firing once. As Voss prepared the transmission package for Union Command, he added a personal report. No edits. No buried leads. Every lie exposed. He attached the audio log. He attached the video. Navarro stood behind him, reading over his shoulder. You're putting your name on it. Someone has to, he said. No more ghosts. The console chimed. Files encrypted, embedded, queued for relay. But just as Voss reached for the send command, the screen blinked red. Union transmission block detected. A message followed. Data corrupted. Flagged, internal review. Do not proceed. Navarro paled. They're watching. They're intercepting our uplink. He cursed, pulled a hard drive from his pack, and began copying the files. Then we take it off-world. Physical delivery. Public network. News nets. Leakers. Someone will run it. A distant boom shook the walls. Keller's voice crackled over the comm. Commander, we've got movement on the ridge. Dropships. No insignia. Voss's blood went cold. How many? 3, maybe 4. Fast approach. They're not Dominion. Navarro's eyes widened. They're Union. Coming to finish the cover-up. Voss muttered. She was right. It was never about peace. He grabbed the drive, slotted it into a magnetic lock band around his wrist, and turned to Navarro. Can you fly? I can try. Then get the skimmer ready. We're not dying here. They rushed toward the hangar. Outside, wind howled again, different this time. Angry. The kind that carries death. In the sky above, the silhouette of a gunship flickered across the morning light. Dark, sleek, no markings. They're jamming comms, optics, even drone feeds, Navarro said. We're blind. Not yet, Voss said. Not if she's still watching. She gave him a look. You think Ilana would just leave? No, he said. She left a trail. That rifle, that message. She wanted this to come to a head. She wanted us to carry it out. And if we fail? Then she finishes it another way. They reached the skimmer. Navarro jumped into the pilot's seat, powering up systems. The console resisted, then groaned awake. Voss climbed in beside her. Plot for Orion Anchor Station. We bounced the signal from there. The ship lifted, rumbling as debris scattered across the pad. From the ridge, flashes of blue light erupted, Union soldiers opening fire. The skimmer took a hit, shuddering, but Navarro banked hard left and launched them into the sky. As Halker 7 shrank behind them, Voss looked back one last time. Just beyond the cliffs, on a narrow ledge, a figure stood still. Ilana. Watching. He tapped the drive on his wrist. Truth's out now, he whispered. You did your part. We'll do ours. The hearing chamber was vast, antiseptic. White walls. Black uniforms. No faces showed emotion. The emblem of the Terran Union glowed overhead, a symbol once seen as protection. Now it felt like a shadow. Commander Rain Voss sat at the testimony bench, his uniform unbuttoned at the collar, not out of defiance, but exhaustion. Navarro sat a few rows behind, back straight, eyes locked on the panel. The galaxy had come to listen. The tribunal's lead arbiter, A chrome-haired woman with the calm voice of someone paid to stay calm, spoke first. Commander Voss, for the record, confirmed the source of the files. Voss leaned into the mic. They were delivered to me by Operative Ilana Viral, former Ghost Veil sniper. Presumed Kia. She is alive. A murmur rippled through the gallery. You are aware, Commander, that your accusations involve high command figures, including Admiral Dal. Yes. And the implication is that this government executed its own soldiers to preserve political leverage with a hostile empire? He stared directly at her. It's not an implication. It's what happened. She folded her hands. The files you submitted were compelling. However, the Council has identified potential tampering, metadata inconsistencies. That's convenient, Navarro muttered from behind. Voss continued. Tampering doesn't change faces. Doesn't change voice logs. Doesn't rewrite command signatures. Another tribunal member leaned forward. Commander, why bring this forward now? Why not earlier? Because I didn't know. And once I did, I couldn't pretend I didn't. There was a pause. Then the final question. Where is Operative Viral now? Voss hesitated. Gone. She wanted no part of this theater. Her war is over. The lights dimmed. The arbiters disappeared into chambers to deliberate. Navarro moved to Voss's side. Do you think it'll be enough? No, he said. But it's a start. Enough people saw it. Even if they bury it now, the story's out. She looked toward the observation deck above. Journalists. Independent channels. Some faces he recognized, old enemies of silence. The truth has velocity, Voss added. Eventually it hits. Elsewhere, a moon orbiting Varos 3. The rifle rested across her lap, but her hands weren't on it. Ilana Viral sat on a rock ledge, hair pulled back, eyes fixed on the sky. The stars here were quiet. No war, no tribunals, just cold lights and wind across stone. Her face was thinner now. Not older, just reduced to essentials. Beside her was a hollow emitter. It blinked once. Then again. A voice crackled through, Navarro. Broadcast picked up across all civilian bands. Stories circulating faster than they can contain. The tribunal didn't convict anyone, but they didn't deny it either. Ilana said nothing. Voss is still breathing. He wanted you to know that. Still she didn't answer. Then, quietly. Did he flinch? No. Ilana closed her eyes. Then he remembers. She stood slowly, lifting the rifle. Not to aim. Just to carry. In the distance, a transport ship lifted off from a distant mining colony, civilians, settlers, unaware of the woman watching them from the cliffs. Her silhouette never moved. She turned away from the sky. This time, she wouldn't follow the sound of war. 1 month later, Terran news feed, civilian broadcast. The fallout from the Viral files continues, with calls from several colonies for independent oversight of Union military operations. The files, leaked anonymously via the Orion Anchor Network, have sparked debates about wartime ethics, state accountability, and the role of elite covert units in post-war peacekeeping. Voss shut off the broadcast. He sat in a quiet corner of a station lounge, drink in hand, no rank on his collar. Just another man with too much history and not enough future. Navarro slid into the seat across from him. You're still here. Hoping for a quiet exit. You think it ends that clean? No, he admitted. But I think we're past the worst of it. She nodded. And her? He looked out the viewport, into the stars. I think she did what she came to do. And I think she's done firing. A pause. You ever think about what would have happened if you pulled that trigger first? She asked. He smirked. She'd have put one through my eye before I blinked. They sat in silence. Then Voss added, but she didn't. That's the difference. That's what matters. Navarro raised her glass. To the shot that never came. He raised his. To the one who never missed. They drank. And somewhere, far from stations, tribunals, and orbiting symbols of power, A woman sniper walked alone, her rifle unloaded, her war finally over.